As it turns out, when it comes to degrading and dehumanizing and mischaracterizing your opposition and not taking the high road, Michelle Obama did plenty of that last night. Most obvious example, she suggested that the Trump administration throws people in cages. Okay, so here she was last night suggesting the Trump administration throws people in cages.
They see our leaders labeling fellow citizens enemies of the state while emboldening torch-bearing white supremacists. They watch in horror as children are torn from their families and thrown into cages, and pepper spray and rubber bullets are used on peaceful protesters for a photo op. Sadly, this is the America that is on display for the next generation.
Weird, because the America that was on display during your administration was complete, utter chaos in Ferguson, Missouri, complete, utter chaos in Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. So, yeah, also, I seem to remember that, you know where those cages got started? You know where they got started, those horrible, horrible cages? With Barack Obama. I have some bad news from the Obama administration era. Those cages began with forced separation policy promulgated by the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. They began under the Obama administration, which led to that famous botch where the media started putting out a photo of kids in cages that actually was from the Obama time. But don't worry, she took the high road right there. And the Trump administration is only using rubber bullets and tear gas against peaceful protesters. There are no actual rioters in the streets. They don't exist. They're gone. But she's taking the high road, guys. Very, very high. Very, very high road. Also, she says that the White House doesn't care about black people, which is also taking the high road. So she says that there is a never-ending list of black people who've been murdered by the police. A never-ending list of black people murdered by the police? Well, actually, according to the Washington Post, there are a grand total of 15 black people who were killed unarmed by the cops last year. 15. So that seems like an ending list, not a never-ending list. It seems like mostly an ending list. And in the vast majority of those cases, the people who were quote-unquote unarmed actually were either going for a cop's gun or using some other type of weapon to attack a cop, or were physically in an altercation with a cop. But apparently it's a never-ending list, and the White House won't say Black Lives Matter. The White House won't say Black Lives Matter because they don't want to mimic the rhetoric of the actual Black Lives Matter movement, because the phrase Black Lives Matter is a semantic trap that has been laid by Democrats. It is a semantically overloaded term, right? That is why the White House has not used the term Black Lives Matter, because it is unclear what it means. I've mentioned this several times. It means, one, the utterly unobjectionable idea that Black lives matter just as much as any other lives in the United States. Two, the perfectly objectionable idea that the United States is systemically racist and that people are targeting black people for death, which is utterly untrue. The vast majority of black people who are killed in the United States are killed by other black people, just like the vast majority of white people in the United States who are killed by other white people. Okay, so that's a completely arguable idea. And then finally, there's the completely inarguable idea that you should not be endorsing the Black Lives Matter organization, a radical, awful, terrible group. Okay, but she says that there's a never-ending list. Again, this is Michelle Obama, who is just the greatest, wisest. Mom is disappointed in us. That was the method. That was sort of the message of this, because she's everybody's mom. Michelle Obama, that's how she's portrayed by the media. Mom is disappointed in you, and she's disappointed in you because the White House won't say that Black Lives Matter while endless numbers of black people are being murdered, apparently by the system, which isn't true, but she's going to push that line anyway.
As George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and a never-ending list of innocent people of color continue to be murdered, stating the simple fact that a Black Life Matters is still met with derision from the nation's highest office.
Never-ending list, guys.
Because whenever we look to this White House for some leadership or consolation or any semblance of steadiness, what we get instead is chaos, division, and a total and utter lack of empathy.
Okay, and again, it's going to come back time and time again to empathy, and we're going to blink very slowly for the camera. Lack of empathy and caring, right? That's the shtick. That's the shtick, is that Trump should care. Now, she's never going to mention the fact that there are full-on riots in major American cities that have taken more lives, by the way, than the police took of unarmed black Americans last year. She's not going to mention any of that. She's not going to mention the complete looting of entire districts of New York, L.A., Washington, D.C., Chicago. She's not going to mention any of that stuff because it doesn't exist. Poof. It's just that Trump isn't empathetic. That's the big problem here. Trump lacks in empathy. And it doesn't matter that politicians pushing the lying narrative that America is systemically racist and targeting black people for death in endless numbers, right? There's a never-ending list of black people targeted for death by the cops. That is significantly more damaging to America, by the way. What she says, that there's a never-ending list of black Americans being targeted by the cops, is significantly more of a lie and more damaging to the United States than Donald Trump not saying the phrase Black Lives Matter because it's semantically overloaded. But she is going to pretend that this is all just an issue of empathy. And this is the game the Democrats love to play. If you disagree with them, it's because you're just not caring enough, guys. It's because you don't care. And watch, I will show you how much I care because I'm going to blink slowly right now. You ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Caring. Did you see it? Did you see the caring happening right there? That means that I know what's best for America because I have empathy. Facts don't care about your feelings, and it's a fact that The Ben Shapiro Show is the largest conservative podcast in the nation. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on all of our content.